I'm Beowulf Boritt, and I'm the set designer for A Bronx Tale, the musical. A Bronx Tale takes place in the Italian section of the Bronx, which is a neighborhood I knew well, along Arthur Avenue and Belmont Avenue. It starts in 1960 and it goes up to 1968, so it's sort of a transitional period for the Bronx and for that neighborhood. It is a musical, and so it has to be non-real in that way. And yet, there's a lot of gritty reality to it. It's a very New York City story, it's a mob story, there's murders in it. And so what I tried to do was to get both those things going at the same time. The sort of the lightness of the 60s and the musical, and the heaviness of this neighborhood that surrounds them, and the kind of the grit of New York City. So this is the scene of the Chez Bippy, which is the bar on Belmont Avenue that Sonny the gangster owns and that Calogero kind of grows up in. This lamppost actually lives over here most of the time. It starts the show downstage center and stays there through the entire show. And for the carefully watching audience member, this sign actually changes. There's a little device inside it that flips it. So sometimes it says Belmont Avenue, sometimes it says Webster Avenue, and sometimes it says Fordham Road, depending on where the scene is. You know, pieces move in and out. The bar comes up and downstage, and in fact in the show this spins around, has the stoop on the other side of it. Really what I was trying to get at with the set is this sense of a small town that you've got up there. It's like a 4 square block area that's really intensely clannish in a way and has this incredible culture in it. The flip side of that is that you get kind of trapped by it and stuck into it, and I think that's really what Bronx Tale is about. It's both this kind of wonderful, amazing place, and yet it's also a cage that you can't get out of, and that's what the set is trying to help create. Because it is a real neighborhood, and because I knew the neighborhood so well, honestly, I worked up there for years. The first thing I did when we really started developing the ideas, I went up with my camera and just spent an afternoon, and I just took pictures and pictures and pictures of the neighborhood and of the stores and the literal street corners where we were taking place. And I think by then I knew that I was going to do something with fire escapes. We'd done some workshops of the show, and I knew kind of how quickly it had to move. And I had this idea for these towers that could roam around the stage, and sort of the grittiness and the weight of that ironwork. These 4 towers really kind of drive the entire show, and they're all able to move upstage and downstage, and they can spin around, and we see different sides of them. But when we're on Belmont Avenue in the heart of the Little Italy neighborhood, we tend to see this side of it, and we've got it all decorated with Italian flags and pennants and things, really all of which is research I pulled from the neighborhood when I was up there. And the signs are all basically based on what these stores really look like and what they looked like back in those days. And the fire escapes are truly big iron fire escapes. We went to an iron store and got pieces you would normally build a fire escape out of. Each one weighs, I think, about 4,000 pounds, and there's an incredible amount of weight down in the base to keep them from tipping over because they're on wheels and they roll around. The 4 storefronts that we're using are all real places in Belmont, and Chaz Palminteri and I went through a bunch of different options and ended up with these 4. And I think in part because these guys are friends of his, but they're all great, amazing stores. When I had the idea that I thought this set should be this kind of red and black world and this kind of passionate, hot red world, I remembered that I had this vague idea of these 50s ads that are printed in black and white and red in sort of a three-tone color printing thing. And I started looking up pictures like that, and that really was the inspiration for the set. All of the backdrops in the set are real photos that I took of the Bronx, but I went in and reworked them all into black and red and to this kind of line drawing quality to get the sense of the period flavor of the world that we're in. The fire escapes are all iron, and they're all truly iron and made to look like they're rusty and corroded. But a lot of things like the doors and the bar and all of that stuff is woodwork, and no matter how much I try to get a shop to make it look kind of old and aged, I'm never quite happy with how it looks. And when it gets into the theater, I almost always end up going in and trying to distress it a little further myself. And here's my Bronx Tale scenery bashing stick. At Paper Mill, when we were first doing the show, I just grabbed a piece of wood from the lumber rack and started beating the set with it. And at first the crew always looks at me like I'm crazy, and then after a day they get used to it, and I go around hitting the set on breaks and kicking it to put scuff marks on it and to soften all the edges. I think when people walk out of A Bronx Tale, they're just happy. It's a beautiful story about a kid who goes through his teenage years and learns to choose love over hate. That's kind of the message of the show, and it's what we've shown people, and I think that's what people walk out with.